You've probably heard it 1,000 times, tell me about yourself. But did you know this one simple question could make or break your entire interview? According to recent studies, 33% of interviewers decide whether to move forward with a candidate based on their answer to this question alone. Yes, one answer could determine your future. It sounds crazy, right? But here's the truth, how you answer "tell me about yourself" sets the stage for everything else in your interview. It's the moment where you introduce not just your qualifications, but your story, and your story matters. Research shows that candidates who tell a compelling story are 30% more likely to be remembered and considered for the job. In this video, we're going to break down the best strategies to answer this question like a pro. From crafting your personal narrative to using silence to your advantage, we'll dive into the techniques that can make you stand out from the crowd. So, are you ready to turn this interview question into your secret weapon? Let's get started. Chapter 1, The Secret Sauce, Crafting Your Story with Confidence. The "tell me about yourself" question is often the first hurdle in an interview. It's your chance to set the tone for the conversation and highlight your key strengths. But answering it well requires more than just rattling off your resume. Instead, think of it as an opportunity to tell your story. Start with the basics: who are you, and what drives you? But don't stop there. Interviewers want to see the person behind the experience. Your story should reflect not just what you've done, but how you've evolved. It should highlight your growth. For example, if you've moved between roles or industries, explain how those transitions have shaped you. A well-crafted answer should focus on how your experiences align with the job you're applying for. You don't have to cover every detail of your past. Instead, pick key moments that showcase your strengths and abilities. According to Harvard Business Review, candidates who tell a story instead of listing qualifications are 30% more likely to be remembered. Be concise, but also engaging. Make sure your story flows logically, from where you started to where you are now. It's not about being overly detailed, but about connecting the dots. Why are you passionate about this role? How does your past experience bring value to it? To make your answer stand out, incorporate a lesson learned or personal growth moment. This shows resilience and self-awareness. As the famous author Maya Angelou said, "We all should know that diversity makes for a rich tapestry, and we must understand that all the threads of the tapestry are equal in value." Highlighting how you've grown through challenges can make your story more relatable and impactful. Chapter 2, The Elevator Pitch 2.0. More than just a quick intro. If you think an elevator pitch is just about introducing yourself in 30 seconds, think again. It's about presenting a snapshot of who you are and why you're the perfect fit for the role in a compelling way. It's your first impression, so you need to grab attention. The trick is to blend brevity with relevance. The best elevator pitches don't just talk about your experience, they talk about your unique strengths. Start with a hook. For example, rather than simply stating your job title, share what excites you about your field or why you chose this career path. But remember, you're not just summarizing your resume. Focus on what sets you apart. For instance, a marketing professional might highlight how they merged creativity with data to drive campaigns, or a teacher might focus on innovative methods they've used to engage students. This approach immediately shows value. It's not just about what you've done, it's about how you can help the company. According to LinkedIn, job seekers who tailor their pitches to the company's specific needs have a 67% higher chance of getting hired. Tailoring your pitch demonstrates that you've done your research and are genuinely interested. Crafting an effective elevator pitch means practicing it until it feels natural. It should be authentic, not robotic. When you practice, focus on key phrases that communicate your strengths and unique qualities. But don't memorize every word, leave space for a natural conversation. In fact, LinkedIn data shows that 85% of people who practice their elevator pitch increase their chances of landing the job. Chapter 3, Turning Weaknesses into Strengths. A strategic approach. We've all been asked about our weaknesses in interviews, and it's a question that can throw you off. But what if you could turn it into a strategic advantage? It's all about reframing your weaknesses and focusing on how you've worked to improve them. The key is to choose a weakness that doesn't undermine your qualifications for the role. For example, if you're applying for a leadership position, admitting that you sometimes struggle with delegating tasks might seem risky. However, you could frame this by talking about how you've learned to trust your team more, and how that has helped you grow as a leader. Another strategy is to talk about a skill you've developed as a result of your weakness. For instance, if you've had challenges with public speaking, highlight how that has motivated you to take courses and practice speaking in front of groups. The key is showing growth and a willingness to improve. Statistics from Gallup reveal that employees who focus on their strengths are 6 times more likely to be engaged in their work. By focusing on growth, you can demonstrate to the interviewer that you're someone who's always improving and adapting. Instead of focusing on the negative, focus on the steps you've taken to address your weaknesses. It's also helpful to remember that interviewers are looking for self-awareness. Acknowledging a weakness isn't a flaw, it shows maturity and honesty. As entrepreneur Richard Branson once said, "You don't learn to walk by following rules. You learn by doing, and by falling over." By framing weaknesses as opportunities for growth, you're not just answering the question, you're showing that you're a proactive, thoughtful candidate who continuously strives to improve. This strategy turns a potentially awkward moment into a chance to highlight your strength of self-improvement. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next chapters of our series on mastering interview techniques. Chapter 4: Authenticity over Perfection. Why your real self wins in interviews. We often feel the pressure to present a perfect image of ourselves. But here's the truth: authenticity is more powerful than perfection. When you present yourself honestly, you connect with interviewers on a deeper level, making your response memorable and relatable. The most effective interviews aren't about reciting scripted answers, they're about showing who you really are. According to a study from the University of Chicago, interviewers are 40% more likely to remember candidates who show genuine enthusiasm and personality. When you let your true self shine through, interviewers can see not just what you've done, but why you do it. When answering "Tell me about yourself," try not to focus solely on your achievements. Instead, talk about what excites you, what drives you to do your best work. This is the part of your story that connects emotionally with the person on the other side of the table. An excellent example of this is Howard Schultz, former CEO of Starbucks. He didn't just talk about building a coffee empire, he shared his story about growing up in a poor neighborhood and how that inspired his passion for creating opportunities for others. His authenticity helped him become a leader people could relate to. To achieve this, start by being honest about your values and goals. When you share what really motivates you, people can tell you're genuine. And let's face it, who wouldn't want to work with someone who's real and passionate about their role? It's also important to remember that perfection can sometimes feel insincere. People appreciate vulnerability because it makes you human. In fact, research shows that 72% of job seekers believe that showing personality in interviews helps them stand out. So, while you want to be professional, don't be afraid to let your personality come through. Authenticity builds trust, and trust leads to stronger connections. Remember, companies aren't just hiring a skill set, they're hiring a person who will fit into their culture. Being yourself is one of the best ways to show that you're the right fit for the team. Chapter 5: The Power of the Pause. Using silence to your advantage. One of the most overlooked strategies in interviews is the power of the pause. Silence is often uncomfortable, especially in a high-stakes situation like an interview. But don't rush to fill every second with words. Pausing gives you time to think, reflect, and deliver a more thoughtful answer. Think of the pause as a tool in your interview toolbox. When asked a question, take a deep breath before answering. This simple tactic can improve the quality of your responses. A well-timed pause allows you to process the question fully and craft a more effective answer. Studies show that taking a moment of silence in interviews can actually make you appear more confident and deliberate. According to a study published in the Journal of Applied Psychology, candidates who paused before responding were perceived as more thoughtful, competent, and confident. But pauses aren't just about giving yourself time to think, they also allow you to control the rhythm of the conversation. If you speak too quickly or fill every moment with words, you risk coming across as unsure or nervous. Pausing shows you are in control and thoughtful about your responses. Additionally, pauses can give your interviewer space to absorb what you've said. Often, the interviewer may be taking notes or thinking about your answer. A slight pause shows that you respect their process, and it can give them the chance to ask follow-up questions that give you an opportunity to further showcase your strengths. Silence also plays into your overall body language. When you pause, you naturally exude calmness and confidence. This subtle tactic helps reinforce the message that you are comfortable in your own skin, which boosts your credibility. Remember, it's okay to take your time when answering. Silence doesn't mean you don't know the answer, it means you're carefully considering the best way to express it. In fact, studies show that 65% of people find pauses in conversations to be a sign of confidence rather than hesitation. So next time you're asked a question, try taking a few moments before speaking. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more strategies on acing your interviews. Chapter 6, the CTA, Call to Action. Ending strong and leaving a lasting impression. You've crafted a great story, delivered your pitch with confidence, and showcased your strengths. Now, it's time to finish strong. Ending your answer with a powerful call to action, CTA, leaves a lasting impression and signals that you're enthusiastic about the opportunity. A strong CTA shows that you are not only a good fit but also motivated to move forward. To create a memorable conclusion, tie everything back to the job you're applying for. You've already shared why your skills and experience make you qualified, but now you need to express why you're excited about the role in the company. For instance, you might say something like, "I'm excited about the opportunity to leverage my skills in digital marketing to help drive your company's growth." Ending with a CTA shows that you're serious about the position. Research from Forbes reveals that candidates who express enthusiasm about the role are 55% more likely to be hired. It's all about showing that you are proactive and eager to contribute. Another key tactic is to ask a follow-up question or invite further conversation. For example, you could say, "I'd love to know more about how your team collaborates on projects," or "I'm curious about the next steps in the interview process." This shows that you're not only interested in the role but also in the company's culture. A strong CTA can also highlight the value you bring to the table. You might wrap up by saying, "I believe my unique experience with data-driven marketing strategies will help your team achieve measurable results." By making this final statement, you show that you are forward-thinking and ready to make an impact. Don't underestimate the power of a strong ending. A great CTA reminds the interviewer of everything you've just discussed while reinforcing your enthusiasm for the job. In fact, 60% of hiring managers report that a candidate's closing statement influences their final decision. In summary, the final moments of your answer are just as important as the beginning. Make sure to end with confidence, enthusiasm, and a clear signal that you are excited to contribute to the company's success. This approach will ensure that your answer is remembered long after the interview is over. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on more career boosting strategies.